Hey guys, what's Gump here? Time for another video, and this time I want it to be a little nonchalant, just for funsies and just like nothing serious. And today's discussion, I just want to get straightforward into is the Game Awards 2023 this year and their nominees, what I voted, why I voted. I will give a thoughtful response to it, and beware that some votes I will review I may subject to change because I will realize that either I may have rushed the vote too quickly or something else appeared. And yeah, overall, I mean, it's just like something I wanted to share with and get in the trend with. So overall, let's begin with Game of the Year, which for this one, I selected Resident Evil 4 Remake as Game of the Year, though I doubt it will win because I feel like it's really like as a Capcom fan and a diehard Resident Evil fan, it's like something I really genuinely enjoy, and I was genuinely excited this year. I mean, I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I have like had dreams about playing the game, and I've overall enjoyed it. I think it's the replayability is so fun, and it's brought like a lot of like fun stuff to it. But overall, I think in grand majority of the community, I think Baldur's Gate 3 will win Game of the Year just because of like how innovative and like appealing it is to not only for RPGs but also to the gaming industry. Because when this game released, it really like alerted to like video game companies that got like really mad or like really seething over how it was like setting the principle to how video games should release. Alan Wake 2, I really hope that will win because it's really like a really good game. You guys should try it out. Spider-Man 2, I feel like it's pretty overrated because it's a Sony PlayStation game, and typically those are like being jerked off into like a circle or whatever by like companies or whatever. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, this recently came out. I mean, I don't know. I think Tears of the Kingdom will overtake that if they were competing with one of another, because I know a lot of people out there are really diehard Zelda fans, and I'm not a Zelda fan by myself, but I really enjoy just like getting to know the culture around it and how people enjoy these video games. So let's go into the next category. Best game direction. I chose Alan Wake 2 because if you think about it, it's a mix of Stevie King and Twin Peaks storytelling. And those are like the most psychologically mind-bending twists and turns. And if you know anything about Remedy, they like to incorporate live action into their video games, which I wasn't aware of because I'm not familiar with Remedy. I know they did Max Payne 1 and 2 and Control and some other games, but honestly, I think they should really like earn at least some reward to Alan Wake 2 because of how like visually like creative it is and how they tell a story within a story. Baldur's Gate 3, it's just your typical D&D game and how that usually works. It can be chaotic. It just really depends up to like who's the DM. Spider-Man 2, I can understand why. I mean, like it's got like a really nice like look to it, especially like the symbiote and how that looks. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, I can understand as well. I mean, it's like classic Mario. It's like it's been so while since Nintendo fans had a 2D Mario. Like a lot of the time, it's either 3D or a collab with the Rayman Rabbits. So I can understand why. And then Tears of the Kingdom, yeah, obviously it's a very gorgeous game. I have seen it before, and I think, yeah, it's really beautiful. So next category is best narrative. Again, I chose Alan Wake 2 because of how outstanding the storytelling is, and it's just like full of twists and turns you may not expect. Honestly, you guys should really watch it or give it a try. I've been following YouTuber The Librarian play it, and it's been like a really good game, a really good engaging game so far. Again, Baldur's Gate 3, your typical D&D game, and how emotionally driven, like how really phenomenal it is. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, it's got that espionage spy thriller to it. So if you're into that, this game is for you. Final Fantasy 16, I'm not aware because I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan, but I can understand why people got excited for it. And I really am happy for those who got to play it. And then again, Marvel Spider-Man 2 is it's just your forward like MC Marvel like narrative driven game and how like he goes against with Miles Morales like against like the villains and all like obviously the big factors Craven and also others. I won't spoil it, but yeah, you get the gist. Best art direction, I voted Hi-Fi Rush because of how outstandingly gorgeous the cell shading and colors are in this game and how it's more comic booky. I really enjoyed it this year, and when they shadow dropped it, that was like unexpected, and I just had a fun time playing with it. Again, Alan Wake 2, same thing. It's just like, Stevie King with Twin Peaks. So if you're into that, Liza P, it's the best looking like Soulsborne game I've ever seen, and I really like how it takes a twist on Pinocchio, but also blends it with that Victorian era like themed of mixed with Bloodborne in some way. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, that's self-explanatory, and then same with Tears of the Kingdom. Best score in music, Hi-Fi Rush definitely, because this game is all about music and rhythm and beats. So if you haven't played it, I'd suggest you give it a try because it's honestly like one of the most fun like rhythm games out there. I think you'll find it pleasant to your eyes. They got some really good songs on the soundtrack that you should like go and listen. Like one of them being Nine Inch Nails, which is like exactly why I got excited for it because I'm a Nine Inch Nails lover. Um, Alan Wake 2, yeah, it's got like that creepy vibe there, and there's like a surprise in there, but I won't spoil it. Baldur's Gate 3, I've never heard the soundtrack before, but I bet it's pretty gorgeous. Final Fantasy 16, yeah, that could be obviously explained. Most people love Final Fantasy for the music as well as the gameplay. And same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. Best audio design, again, I voted Hi-Fi Rush because it's more emphasis on like the sound because the sound really drives the gameplay and how you fight in like the gameplay as well as like other bosses and how it's more or less just trying to stay in rhythm, trying to catch up with the beat. Alan Wake 2, of course, when it's like horror, you have to emphasize on how sound is going to incorporate into a horror game. Like, how do you want to jump scare the player? How do you want to make it like scary or suspenseful? And they honestly delivered very right. Same thing with Dead Space. Like Dead Space this year, the remake, it was really, really good. Like, it honestly was more intense and on the edge because of how fitting and immersive being on the Ishimura was compared to like the 2008 original release of it. Spider-Man 2, I'm not sure. Resident Evil 4, that's definitely a huge like leap of audio and sound design because they like included like a more modern like horror take, but also retained some of the classic elements. Like in fact, they sell the classic soundtrack or classic sounds on the store that you can buy for like what like $2 or $3, so you can like go back to that 2005 period of the original Resident Evil 4. Best performance, I voted Cameron Monaghan because I really enjoyed Jedi Survivor this year, and I really loved the way that Cal was presented, how we connect with him, and how we feel sorry for what's going on. I know a lot of people are probably gonna choose Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16 because of like what I heard from the demo and how that is. Idris Elba, he's pretty solid, but I don't think he should deserve it because he's an actor, and obviously when you like have someone in the game that looks like an actor, like how are you gonna like perceive how someone connects with you, like how are you gonna connect with the character? Like, is it like just because they are an actor, or is it just because of who the character is? Same thing with like Yuri Lowenthal, like he's pretty like iconic in the voice acting industry and as well as like other departments. But I really find his voice to be recognizable and like fitting with Spider-Man because that's exactly what I hear from Spider-Man. Is Yuri Lowenthal. Neo Newborn, I've heard a lot of good things from Baldur's Gate with his character as Asterion. I don't know too much about her because I've never played it. And Melanie, she did pretty good in Alan Wake 2. Innovation and accessibility. So this is more or less just like adding features or accessibility to help video games. Honestly, first I chose Hi-Fi Rush because I wanted because again it's an action rhythm game and there's some stuff in there you can turn on and off to help you with the gameplay. Like you could turn off this beat meter like visually to like help you stay in rhythm, or you can like choose like a much more casual playthrough. But as I realized from fighting games like Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1 that I think Street Fighter really does it for helping people who want to get into fighting games. And I've seen some clips out there of people like who are disabled, yet they are able to play a game like Street Fighter and able to win overall. Like it's just really incredible what they can do with it. Games for Impact. I've never played any of these games, so I just chose like visually from the postcards. The I was just like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna choose this one because it looks pretty cool. So yeah, best ongoing game, definitely Cyberpunk 2077. I think CD Projekt Red has really nailed the comeback and the like in the redemption from day one when it released like 3 years ago. I certainly think that they deserve credit where credit is due because they honestly worked really hard to bring Cyberpunk back from the bad PR that they went out of their way to not only like add a new expansion to the game but also updates to help like qualities of life, to make it more enjoyable and what they wanted envisioned. Apex Legends, I don't know too much about. Final Fantasy 14, I can understand because a lot of people really love this game, and I heard it's a best ongoing community support, and so when that game will release for Xbox next year, I'll probably like try it out and see what it's like. Fortnite, they usually give like updates like every 2 weeks or something, and I can understand why people would choose this because the big thing that this year they did that gravitated more people was bringing back like the original map and how that is. And Genshin Impact, we don't talk about that. Best community support. Again, CD Projekt Red deserves what they are and how they delivered with Phantom Liberty and the updates before it released. Honestly, give applause to them, and I respect them now for redeeming Cyberpunk. Don't know too much about Baldur's Gate 3. This one obviously is a huge joke. If you're a Destiny or a Bungie fan over the past 2 years, you would know that it's been a very rough and demeaning ride. Like honestly, with the amount of that's going on with the Bungie layoffs, the PR disaster, the community management, and like everything with this game. Honestly, I think this is like a joke and it shouldn't be here, honestly. I think this should be replaced with Halo Infinite because Halo Infinite, the 343 actually managed to get their team management team like back together. They like literally fired all of the people who hated Halo and they recruited those who really loved this franchise and wanted to succeed. So props on them. I think they should just replace this with Halo. Again, like as I said before, Final Fantasy 14, I heard it's like an ongoing community, like that's to this day like really good and impactful. And No Man's Sky is in the same vein as Cyberpunk 2077. Like at first it started out like really bad, but eventually over the years, as they won awards for like best community support, they really like got back on their feet and like appealed to the community. Best independent game. Again, I don't know any of these much. I heard Sea of Stars is pretty good. I know Cocoon's on Game Pass, and I've heard of Dave the Diver, but honestly, like as far as I'm aware, I just chose whatever I just, instinctively or rationally at least some bit like to go with. So I just chose Sea Star for that. Best debut indie game. I just chose Cocoon because honestly, like I don't know too much about these other games. I've heard a lot about Pizza Towers through the memes and all, but I just chose like this one because of like how pretty cool and like visually good looking it was. Best mobile game. Best mobile game. I'm not a mobile gamer, but oh god, is that a niche or subculture of the community? I don't know why Hello Kitty is on here. And from what I heard from somebody, Monster Hunter now is essentially Pokemon Go, but Monster Hunter version. So you just walk around in real life and find monsters to creep. I don't know too much about this one, but I just chose this one because it looks pretty good. Best VR AR game. Honestly, I don't know too much about VR AR, but I just imagine for Gran Turismo for a racing game that like when you play it in VR, it's like you're there and you could do like actually drive the car itself and not just like use a controller. I don't know. Again, I don't know too much. I'm just picking randomly, so my vote doesn't matter. Resident Evil Village VR mode. I mean, that's been like a thing since 2021, I guess. Synapse, I don't know. Humanity, I don't know. Horizon, I don't know. Best action game, I chose Armor Core 6 because again, From Software nails it with the games on combat, especially with Elden Ring last year. And I haven't played it, but I really want to get Armor Core 6 for Christmas and try it out. Dead Island 2, again, we waited like a decade for it to release because it was in development hell, and it's good to see it released, but honestly, like I haven't played Dead Island in a long time. Ghost Runner 2, I heard is pretty lay low, pretty disappointing from the first game. Hi-Fi Rush, I could definitely see it. It's a really fun game. And also Remnant 2, I've heard good things about that. Best action adventure, I chose Star Wars Jedi Survivor because of how it was good at making me think what to do in order to solve puzzles in that game compared to like say Resident Evil 4, because we all know Resident Evil is about like not only survival horror but also like puzzles and like how to like get through an obstacle that's in your way. Same thing with same thing with in that sense with Zelda. Like Zelda's all about the puzzle solving, and I'm not sure about Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. This RPG, I can definitely say that's Baldur's Gate 3 because of how innovative it is, and it's because it's D&D. Like, give it some prop. Like, that's what D&D is all about, right? It's about the RPG. It's about the role you play in a game. And yeah, like same thing with Final Fantasy 16. P, it's a really good Bloodborne sort of like RPG game or whatever. And Sea of Stars, I don't know too much about. This one, I didn't really like Starfield that much. I thought it was really boring, and Bethesda should really just stick back to Morrowind because I think Morrowind is a pretty good game. Best fighting game, I chose Street Mortal Kombat 1 because of how familiar I am with the franchise. I don't know too much about Street Fighter, but I heard Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 was pretty good. I don't know Pocket Bravery or Gotta Rock. Best family, I just chose Party Animals because I've seen a lot of my friends play it and it looks pretty fun. Pikmin 4, I could see why because I know there's Pikmin fans out there. And same thing as well with Sonic Superstars because I know the Sonic community has been like really dwelling good in like its releases with recent new game and also Superstars as well. Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. And Super Mario is just Super Mario. Disney, I don't know too much about this one. Best sim and strategy, I chose City Skylines 2 because I've heard like or seen my friends play it, and it's a pretty like I'm not sure how to put it, but it's just basically like build your own city, the video game. Advanced Wars, I don't know too much about it, but I think it's part of Battalion Wars. Company of Heroes 3, I haven't heard much about Fire Emblem. I know this is a game for those like sadomasochists who want to torture some of themselves because of how cruel and how unfair the game is, but you have to think methodically and how to approach a scenario. Pikmin 4, that's just Pikmin, so you get the gist. Best sports racing games, I chose Forza Motorsport because of how the graphics have really upped and amped. It was like at first when I saw it, I legit thought it was an actual racing recording until I saw that it was Forza Motorsport, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty good. Like those are really good like aesthetics and visuals. Like it almost got me into like being immersive into the game, you know. I don't think anybody cares about EA Sports. I'm not sure about F1. Hot Wheels 2, I'm not sure about that. It's just Hot Wheels and the crew. I don't know about that for Ubisoft fans. Again, best multiplayer. I just chose Party Animals. I didn't know Baldur's Gate 3 had multiplayer. Diablo 4, it's had a rough launch, and I've heard a lot of like meteor and mediocrity and bad things from it since its launch. Street Fighter 6, I know there's a whole like esports around it, and, like a fighting tournaments and all. And then Super Mario Brothers Wonder, that's just self-explanatory. Best adaptation. I honestly went with the Super Mario Brothers movie because I honestly think that this redeems video game adaptations, but I wouldn't say that without giving credit to Last of Us because I think Last of Us really brought the whole video game adaptation to the medium with people who have never played video games or have never heard it before. And although I'm not a big fan of Last of Us and it's got some like mixed reception here and there, I honestly think that it sort of helped like redeem the whole video game adaptations and why people should care more. Castlevania Nocturne, obviously, if you like Castlevania or if you've seen Castlevania on Netflix, it's pretty good, worth watching. I'm glad Gran Turismo came out because of Neil Blomkamp and his like movies. Like he hasn't made a movie since like 2009, so that was like unexpected when they were making a Gran Turismo film. And Twisted Metal, I don't know too much about, but I've only seen like one clip from it when they showed it off, and it's all right, but I haven't seen it before, so I can't really make that decision. Most anticipated game, I just chose Star Wars Outlaws because of how like open world and like how Grand Theft Auto it will sort of be because I'm just curious. I know a lot of people are really excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and how that's gonna continue the plot from the remake. Hades 2, you should check out Hades. It's a pretty cool game. It's definitely worth playing, and I bet there's those die-hard fans that are waiting for the sequel. Um, I've never been a fan of Yakuza or the series, but I've seen it on the internet at least for years because of the memes and like gameplay or whatever. But I can see why people will play this. And Tekken, I don't think Tekken as much as a big fighting game is compared to like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but I know there's like a niche culture around Tekken and how people are excited for that. Content creator of the year. I have any idea who these people are, so I can't give an opinion on them. I just chose this one out of because it's just, yeah, I don't know. Best esports game. Now this one is pretty easy because I know Counter-Strike 2 will be like always is the most popular esports game that people are gonna eat up a year. I honestly rather think it's better than Dota, or honestly think it's better than League and Valorant because they don't try to appeal to a crowd. It's just running its own thing. And PUBG Mobile, I don't know why that's there. Like best esports athlete. I don't know who these people are, so I just chose based on like Counter Strike to go with. I don't honestly care about League or Valorant or Call of Duty or Apex Legends. Best esports team again, same idea. Coach, I don't know. Event, I don't think there's event, and that's about it. So let me know what you guys think of the choices and the categories in the comments below, and try to see like discuss like why did you pick that, why did you pick that category. And oh yeah, it's only gonna be in here in a few weeks on December 7th, so let's go see about that. So see ya.